Day 8, and today was pretty good. It was a little bit slower in the morning than I wanted it to be, so I ended up going to the neighborhood gym instead. But I still got in my full workout and did legs, pretty much everything I wanted to do. But I did remember that this gym does not have a leg press, so that's definitely a little bit disappointing, but wasn't the worst thing. Got it done well, and then had a pretty productive day at the office. Was able to accomplish about 80% of what I wanted to do, so that's pretty good. And then today was Wednesday, so we had the group run in West Palm Beach. Did about 3 miles today, and then some stretching and walking and short running after that. And I felt more competitive today than I guess I did last week, because there was somebody who was running in front of where James and I were running, and I said on the way there he was maybe a good 20 feet, 30 feet in front of us. I said, look, on the way back we gotta pass him. I don't want to come in second today. I don't want anybody in front of us. So that's what it was, and picked it up on the way back and finished up the 3 miles in just over 24 minutes, which wasn't bad for 93-degree weather or whatever it was. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Got a good workout in. My legs are definitely sore, so like I said, I've been doing some good stretching. I realized that in the first 7 days of 75 Hard, because today is day 8, that I did the equivalent of a marathon. So my intention, at least at this point in time, seeing as I don't have a bike or anything, and the primary outdoor workout I'm going to be doing is walking and running, is to do a marathon every week at a minimum. So I'm gonna continue that for right now. That's the plan. If I do end up getting a bike somehow, some way, then the plan will change, but we'll see. And beyond that, I started the new book, Work by Lester DeCoster. It's somewhat of a short book. I mean, this one, yeah, it's barely not even 100 pages. So it's more like a booklet. But yesterday I read like just over 20 pages, and I'll probably finish this book by the end of the weekend pretty easily. So a few takeaways here. See, the author's talking about 2 things that dawned on him. He's saying that first, if life is to have meaning, I would have to find it, not hope to create it for myself. And then second, that living must get its meaning, first of all, on the job, because that's the drain down which the best hours of every week dribble away. So he said, at first, these options seemed fanciful. Life's meaning on the job, not because I put it there, but because work endows living with significance. Kidding somebody? And he says, no kidding at all, that's the way it is. Come along and see for yourself. So this is the preface of the book. He's talking about what he's going to be writing about the entire time. So if I look at my next takeaways here, I have on page 5, work plants the seed, civilization reaps the harvest. Work is the form in which we make ourselves useful to others. Civilization is the form in which others make themselves useful to us. We plant, God gives the increase to unify the human race. And I highlighted that just because, thinking about the connection of everything, I thought it was very fascinating and important. And then the third takeaway that I have so far here is quite a bit. I've got like the entire page highlighted a couple times. He's talking about Matthew chapter 25 verses 31 to 46, where Jesus was referencing, and he's saying, the account of the last judgment. And this reflects God's attitude towards work. So it begins by saying, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his throne in heavenly glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. So then he goes on to say things like, near the end of this here, and he says, they also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? He will reply, I tell you the truth, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. So what this whole section is about is breaking down those different aspects. So first, the author says here, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. Then he says, God himself, hungering in the hungry, God himself, hungering in the hungry, is served by all those who work in agriculture, wholesale or retail foods, kitchens or restaurants, food transportation or the mass production of food items, manufacturing of implements used in agriculture or in any of the countless food-related industries, innumerable support services and enterprises that together make food production and distribution possible. And then he breaks that out. He says, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. And he breaks down the same thing. I needed clothes and you clothed me. Just breaks down the same thing. So this part of the book, he says, in this revealed light, skipping 5 pages ahead, in this revealed light, it is clear why work not only gives meaning to life in time, but to life for eternity. To work, Saint Benedict said, is to pray. And we may add, to work is to love, both God and neighbor. Because if we're working at an organization that's providing benefit to somebody else and providing something that is a value add, then ultimately the work that we do through that organization is showing love to that person because we're helping somebody. And in the same way, if we're providing a service or product or a service that is fulfilling a need or solving a problem, then we're helping humankind, which also means that we are helping God and we are honoring God. And some people will go back and forth of like, oh, Christians are called to a career or a call, or called to a job within ministry, which maybe so, some are, some aren't. Some are, many are. That's great, but he's also sharing that work here, because without farmers, we don't have food. Without manufacturers, then we don't have furniture. Without constructors, we don't have places to live. So you can be God honoring and serve God through many, many different careers and different industries, which I really like the way that he is expressing this so far in the book. He's done a good job of connecting the dots and making it a very, very understandable portion and understandable message, understandable segment of the book so far. So the next chapter, which I'm going to start reading in a few minutes, is Word on Self, Each His Own Artist. And this sounds similar to the title of this chapter sounds similar to the book Called to Create by Jordan Rayner, where in that book he emphasizes how God is the masterful creator and he was the first inventor. He was the first entrepreneur. And really that's the example that he set. And when we have those type of desires and drives within us, those are godly desires and can be used for his purposes. So that's where we're at. I'm looking forward to reading more of this because so far it's a good book. I got it from Life Work Leadership. That's part of the it's part of NCF, National Christian Foundation. They do a lot of work in Florida, but throughout the U.S. and internationally. And I got connected to them through school. So it was a leadership program that met once monthly and lasted about 9 months, I think. 8 or 9 months. And it was great. I really liked it. I learned a lot and met some fantastic people. So they gave me this book as part of the program. It was one of the resources that was part of the program, but ultimately we didn't get that far. So I get to read it now 2 years later, which is great. That's what I got. It's going to be a working night, busy night, and busy week. I mean, it's Labor Day weekend, sure, but I don't think there's really going to be much true time off. and not that I want there to be anyways. So that's 10 minutes. Let's leave it at that. I'll get back to it. And there we go. God bless.